Good morning. Today we are gonna make use of the Viroo Studio templates to create an assembly training pill very quickly, making use of some editor windows we have already prepared in this template here. As we can see in the hierarchy, we have a training pill object which has some stuff inside. In this case, it has a grabbable manager, which is the object in charge of managing the assembly parts and assembly targets we are going to create. It has an assembly group, which is going to allow us to specify which parts are going to be compatible with some targets, and it's going to allow us to group it. And the sequence manager, which is going to allows us to create a sequence when we have some parts ready to be interactable. So first step in this case is to import some 3D model. As you can see here, we do not have any model, so I'm going to import my own using, in this case, Pixit. So I'm going to my download folder and I'm going to import this Lego model here. In my case, the scale is too low because it's very small because it's a Lego. So I'm going to multiply it by 10 to have a larger model. So I'm going to import. Now it's importing, and now I have here a prefab which is called powertrain. I'm going to drag and drop into my scene. I'm going to set it here because I have the player start position here, so I'm going to set it. Now we can see that our model has a lot of parts. Some of them are inside the hierarchy, so there are some like groups. You can move it to show it, as there are some specific groups like this one, for instance. Okay, this is a group, and it has inside some parts like this one, and so on. Okay, so what we are going to do is to make some of those parts grabbable and make them compatible with some specific sockets where I'm going to be able to drop those parts in. So the first thing I'm going to do is to move this imported model inside my assembly group here. And doing that, I'm achieving two things. The first one is to make this hierarchy a child of the root game object, because in Viroo, everything needs to be inside this root game object to keep track of it. Okay, so as we are going to add a lot of automatic components, Viroo needs to know where to look those components in. Okay, so that's why we need to add it here. Okay, this assembly group has a component here which is going to be composed of assembly parts and assembly targets. But to fill this list here, instead of doing it manually, we are going to use extension that we have prepared for this template, which is inside Viroo Studio Templates Assembly Group Editor. This Assembly Group Editor is a tool in which I can select a target assembly group. In my case, is this one, my assembly group. So I'm going to select this, and an interface appears allowing me to create, in this case, assembly parts. So what do I need to do to create an assembly part? The only thing I need to do, well, I need to do two things. The first one is to add a collider to the body I want to interact with, because I need something to interact with, and in Unity that's a collider. So I can create a collider manually, but in this case I'm going to, as I have Unity Industry, I can use the create collider tool from Pixit, and I can specify here which kind of collider I would like to create. I'm going to use an axis align bounding box, which is going to be locally aligned. Then I hit run, and what I have is, I'm going to hide it, and what I have is a collider which is aligned with that transform here, okay? So it's the minimum bounding box for that mesh, okay? Once I have that, I need to specify an ID for this part. So I'm going to say something like will 01, and it's going to be of type of kind will. This type is very important because it's going to specify which targets this part is compatible with. Once I hit create, this is going to create for me some stuff. It's creating the assembly part itself here, okay? Is specifying this name and is specifying this part and is creating a starting position. This one here is the starting position, which I can select doing this. If I click on the S button, this one, this means select. Okay, so once I have it selected, I can do things with it. Okay, in this case, I'm going to move the start position here, and if I now hit play, I can see how it is automatically set with interpolation in this point, and it's a gradual thing which I can get, and I can move across the scene. I cannot drop it into its position as I haven't created the target yet, but I'm going to do it right now. So next step would be to, once I have I'm going to select again this one. Once I have the part created, I can select it using this button here. With this one, I select the part, and a new interface appears. As this is a part, I can create an assembly target for it. Okay. If I have another one which has no assembly part, I cannot get that user interface. But if I select this, it automatically appears here. And I can select a feedback material, which is going to be used later on to show us the next step in the sequence. I have already prepared material, which is called feedback. So let me look for it, this one. So I'm going to hit create, and this is creating for me an assembly target of type will. This means this part is going to be compatible with this target. I can have as many targets as I want and as many parts I want for to be compatible with each other. Okay. So if I now, for instance, duplicate this part and move it to another location, this socket, this target is going to be compatible with both. Okay. So now if I hit play, I have the wheel, and when I select it, I can go close to the position, and when I drop it, it's automatically snapped into its position. Okay. So that's it. I have a socket, which we name in Unity an XR socket, which is capable of getting that part into it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to create another one. For instance, I'm going to select this axle here. Okay, this part. I'm going to select my assembly group. I'm going to add my collider. Once I have set this up, is ready to click run. You can see as the collider has been created. You can close this. Then I go here and say this is the axle 01 and this is of kind axle. And then I hit create, and that create another part, which is this one. I can move its starting position to another one. Let's move it, for instance, let's say here. Okay. And I'm going to create an assembly target for it using the same feedback. I'm going to hit create, and now I have an axle kind target. Okay. So if I hit play, I have both parts, and I can get any of them and get close to its position. And as you can see, this is compatible with the axle, but it's not compatible with the wheel. I cannot drop it into the wheel socket. And the same for this. This is compatible with this, but not with the axle one, okay? So now we already have some stuff that we can assembly and disassembly. And we have done it without programming anything, or we have just configured some stuff in this window. Okay, so next step is going to be to create a sequence. Imagine that furthermore, getting those parts getting that functionality to allow them to be assembled, we also want to create a specific sequence for them. So what we are going to do, I'm going to close this one. I don't know if we are going to need it later on, but for now, I'm not going to use it. So if I go now um, to the sequence, here we have a completable items sequence, which is empty, which is, let's say, the sequence running. As it is empty, is not doing is doing anything, but sorry, is doing nothing. But if I get some completable items here, the template is going to show us the feedback in order of appearance in this list. So we have several kinds of completions. I'm going to go here inside, and we have several kinds of completable items. We have audio completables, which are clips of audio we need to wait for. Click completables, which are things like buttons I need to click. We have the part target completables, which are the ones I'm going to use right now, which are is going to wait for us to drop a part into a specific target location. We also have player director completables, which are meant to be used in animations. What it does is to wait for a player director, a Unity player director to be complete, to be finished. We have the trigger completables, which are going to allow us to wait, for instance, for the player to enter some region in the map or whatever. And we have video completables, which are the same as audio, but with video, which is going to allow us to play a video and wait for its completion. So for our purpose, we are going to use these ones here, the target completables. And to add them to this sequence here, we need to we need to bind them with the part targets we have just created. And to do that, I'm going to open again this window, because it's easier for me to navigate through the hierarchy using this. If I click the select button, I'm selecting the wheel target, this one. This one is the object for the wheel target. So if I click here, I can navigate through them. Okay, so once I'm here, I can drag and drop this part that is completable onto this one. I can change this name to be easier later. This is the wheel 01. Okay. And I'm going to do that for both, for the wheel and for the axle. So I'm going to select the axle as well. And I'm going to add this completable here onto this one. And I'm going to rename this to be axle 01 slash that one. Okay, so now we have two completables in the scene. So if I go to the sequence manager and go here, I can select them because they are already in the scene. So imagine that I want the axle to be the first thing to complete. Then I click here, I hit another one, and I select the wheel. So now the steps are going to be to complete the axle and then complete the wheel. Okay, and as you can see, when I hit them, I can get the source of that. Okay, but I can select them from here, or as in any other Unity window, I can drag and drop them. So it's the same, drag and drop or selecting from this list. So now, if I hit play, the sequence starts, and now it's giving me that feedback I set up before, telling me that the first thing I need to do is to get this thing into this socket, and something appears here, and if I get this one, the same happens, something appears here. I'm not seeing anything here in the completable section, in the completable text, because I haven't set it up. Here in the completables, I have a completable item data, what I can fill in for that to appear here. So if I get here, this is the axle. So axle 01 complete. And for the other one, I'm going to go to the sequence, wheel, this one, and this is wheel 01 complete. Now, if I hit play, I'm going to get the axle, and then I get there, and you can see that here says axle 01 complete. Okay, so this is going to be like the results window, and the user can make mistakes, but I'm going to be able later on to evaluate if the sequence is being done properly or not. If I get, for instance, the wheel instead of the axle and get it here, I'm registering that the wheel is being complete before the axle, okay? And that's wrong. But I let the user freedom to do that, to do some mistakes, okay? Okay, so as you can see, now we have two completables, and in our sequence, we have the ability to reorder them. If I want the wheel to be the first, I just need to set it the first position, and now the wheel is going to be the first thing to be set up, okay? Okay, so imagine that now we want to create some audio feedback for the user to explain something. For that purpose, we have an audio completion template already done, which I can drag and drop here. This is basically, I'm going to move it inside the group as well here to keep everything tidy. So this audio completion has an audio completable which already has a completable item data set up. I can change what I want to say here. Let's say feedback audio, and then in the audio source I can specify the clip I want to play. In this case, I'm playing this. I'm going to reproduce it.
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
Okay, so I want that to be played before the user starts assembling parts. So to do that, I go to the sequence and then create another entry and then drag and drop this one, and then I can set it the first thing. Okay, and now I can see that this feedback here, which is line connecting these completables, which is telling this is the first thing and then these things happens and so on. If I hit play,
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
okay, and as you can see, it first plays the audio and then goes to the next completion stage, which is the wheel and then the axle. I'm going to reorder them because it makes more sense to be the axle first. Okay, so it's as easy as that, as getting the completable audio here and setting the data I wanted to register in this window, and that's it. And if I wanted to add another kind of completable, I just need to go to the template and drag and drop another already done thing. Okay. One thing that I'm going to do, for instance, is to set a position where the user needs to enter. That's a player trigger completion. If I drag and drop here, this thing, okay, I'm going to move it inside as well. I'm going to sort them that way. Then here we have another completable item data, player position, let's say start position, and I'm going to change this as player trigger just to be easier to identify it in my list. I'm going to add another one, another entry, and then add this one here. Sorry, because I haven't selected public trigger sequence manager. I'm having trouble with my mouse. So player trigger, I don't know why, but as I'm capturing, I have some trouble with my mouse. Okay, so now I have the player trigger here. And as you can see here, I can see the sequence. If I wanted this to be the second stage, I just need to move this one here. And now we can see as the line changes and it says, first I'm going to play this audio, then I'm going to wait for the user to enter this region, okay, which is this collider here. And then I'm going to wait for the user to complete the assembly stuff, okay? So if I hit play,
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
now it shows the feedback for the user to go there. And when I enter, I can grab the axle and set it there. Sorry, I didn't set it properly. There. And then the wheel. And as you can see here, it's registered every event happening with the timestamp from the starting sequence time and the user who is doing, because this is already networked. So every user connected to the session would be registering the data. So we can evaluate later on which user has done any step or whatever we want. Okay. So that's it. It's very, very simple to create assembly things. We can also do much more complex parts. Like imagine that we want this to be a part, the whole set to be a part. Okay. Let me set it in the proper position. Okay. So if I want to create a part for this, for the whole set of models, instead of selecting a concrete part, I can select instead of selecting a specific part, I can select the full hierarchy, this one here, okay? And then I go to the part manager. I'm going to open it again, Viroo, templates, assembly group. I select the group, and then I go and say, this is the, I don't know, this is like the engine block or something like that, engine block. And this is of type engine block. Let's change this to be O1 and let's create a part. I forgot to create the collider, so I'm going to create the colliders for it. So I'm going to open this and then create the colliders. I'm going to hit run, and then I have a set of colliders wrapping those mesh colliders, those objects. So I can close this, and then I go here and create a part. I already have a part. Then for that part, I have a start position, so I can move this start position to be here, for instance. So now if I select the part and create a specific target for it, I'm going to select feedback again here. And I have a part for that full set of objects. I can have that in the sequence or not. In this case, I'm creating a thing that is already grabbable.
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
But it's not in the sequence because I haven't set it in the sequence. So I can have even free parts to move across this scene, but without binding them into a sequence. As I want to bind it into the sequence, I'm going to go here again, templates assembly group, I'm going to select this one, and then I'm going to select the engine block target here. I'm going to add it a target completable, this one here. Okay, I'm going to specify name engine block completed, and I'm going to add it to my sequence. I'm going to the sequence manager and create another entry here, and I'm going to select it from here. I haven't changed the name, so it's difficult to look for it. So let me change this one, and this is the engine block. And then in the sequence, it's easier to identify. Here it is, okay? So I'm going to set this as the first thing to set. Now I can see that first is this step, then the player needs to position here, then it needs to set the engine into position, and so on. Okay, so
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
I enter here. Now I have to place the engine, the full engine block. I set it there, and then I set the axle, and then I set the wheel, and everything is done, is complete. And if I'm testing the scene, I have prepared here a button which communicates with the visual scripting system using a Unity event, which allow us to restart the sequence. So if I hit here, everything is restarted.
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
So I can let the user know how to communicate with our system. This is just an example. Okay, this could be a button in an interface or in a monitor or in a text or whatever. Okay. One thing that is very interesting for this is that imagine that now I need to replicate this whole functionality to another user because I want two users to be doing some kind of challenge, setting up something. I can replicate this training pill this way, okay? And then I have to separate sequences, one for each user, okay? If I go to the assembly group, I need to change this ID because this ID is going to be used to create the network variables. So I need to change it to another thing different from the other one, assembly group number 2, and the same for the sequence because this project is meant to allow to create several sequences in the same training pill. Imagine that you want to set that engine block before, and then once you have it, you proceed to do another sequence. So you have to change the sequence names not to collide one to each other. Sorry, because I think I'm not changing the proper one. This is the first one, and this is the second one, and same for groups. This is the assembly group number 2, and this is the assembly group number 1, just for them to be tidy. Okay, so that's it. Now if I hit play, I have both sequences running.
Follow the feedback signs to successfully complete the training sequence.
And if I go here, I'm completing this one, but not the other one. Okay, so I could have another user there, but that doesn't mean that I cannot do this. I can go here and complete this as well. Okay, so I can do both, but each one has their own networking variables controlling the full state of the sequence. Okay, so that's it. As you can see, it's very simple to create a very complex stuff, which is a guided training build. And we have done it using just some Unity editors we have created for this purpose, but with full no-code paradigm in this case. Okay, so that's everything for now.